I think what so many founders or e-commerce founders miss, that more traditional business owners are usually better at, is thinking about maximizing or optimizing your working capital as a starting point before you run off to start getting revenue-based loans or getting seed capital. Can we talk a little bit about the wise thing for people to do here in optimizing working capital? How does that work?
What we would say is always, well, before you kind of take out, debt, which will cost you money to fund the working capital, what have you actually done to try to optimize this? Have you spoken with your suppliers? Have you spoken with your logistics providers? What have you potentially tried to tweak to give yourself a more optimized working capital? I think that's what fundamentally always needs to happen before people start going out to sort of take loans to fund this. I appreciate if you're super early, you don't always have a huge amount of leverage on your suppliers and whatnot. But if you're a founder and you're a CFO, your main your main task is to be a negotiator and to build partnerships with, especially key guys like your suppliers. So that's what we always would recommend people doing before sort of start thinking about loans to find working capital. I'm sure you have a similar view as an accountant with tens and tens of years of experience.
Absolutely. I think also just worthwhile, let's just define or explain what we're meaning by working capital. You and I are finance guys, so this language comes naturally to us. The majority of listeners here are going to be business owners, right?
But maybe not as strong finance in terms of the language of finance. So working capital is not just your cash, but your cash, the amounts that are receivable. In the e-commerce world, that could be money sitting in your Amazon seller account. Also, if you've got wholesale suppliers, they pay you in 60 days, right? Also in inventory, right? I include inventory that's on hand in working capital. And then we deduct from that all your short-term payables. Some interesting discussions about whether credit cards are included or not. I include the credit card balances, right? Now, adding those up, adding that working capital balance up month on month is very important because you understand where you're at. And I think there's a lot of financing options inside of that working capital calculation. Some of your Chinese suppliers might be having a 50 or 80% upfront payment, right, when you started, but now you've been trading for 6 months. Maybe you're only putting a 20% deposit down. Maybe the other 70% or 80% you're only paying, a month after the goods are received. That opens up your financing compared to going to get the same working capital loan, right, that's revenue-based that you would have repaid in that same period. You could also be carrying the right amount of inventory. If you overstocked, too much money sitting in inventory, therefore you got no cash. If you've got big business-to-business or wholesale customers who are paying you in 120 days, well, maybe you can give them a 5% discount if they pay you cash. That's still cheaper than the revenue-based loan, right? Mm. And the last one that I see is, especially for our US founders, I hate credit cards. But, man, some of those US credit cards, if you're getting started, it's so easy for you to get a 50 or 100 grand credit card where they often will give you no interest for 90 days, right? There's some crazy offers because the banks know you're going to expect you to keep that credit card balance going. They'll be expensive once you're out of that period. But maybe that's an option as well to get started. Why not think about those things before you run off and get a loan with a 20 or 30% APR?